Live from, yes, you know it, Los Angeles here on this Sunday night. It's the MMT Sunday Night Spectacular, and Taylor Swift has saved cinemas yet again. Well, I mean, the first time she has. But we finally, you know how long it's been since we had $100 million film? This film might not get to 100, but in the range of 100, you got to go all the way back to the end of July when we had Barbie. I mean, that's how long it's been. We knew that it was going to be like a dead zone for a long time. We're talking almost 3 months, 3 months of nothing but a bunch of things that just opened at like 30 or 25, or maybe we got to 40. Did we even get to 40? I mean, it's been a really bad stretch, but Taylor Swift comes in this weekend, and kudos to AMC. They distributed the film. So they're making money on this thing, not just from the nest egg that first weekend, but it's going to play successive weekends in a weird release. Listen to this. Next Thursday, it's back in theaters until Sunday. And then the following week, Thursday to Sunday. They're not playing it Monday through Wednesday. So it's that you got to see it now kind of thing. Interesting to see what will happen second weekend, but let's get to the number because it's interesting what's happening with this. As we look at the number that they have this at 95 to 97 million. Very rare you see a studio say, we're going to give you a range. It's always a number, even if it's a little bit off, right? They estimate the Sunday, but they at least give it, 95.3 million. They have a good gauge. But listen to what AMC is saying here. They say, without clear comparisons, Sunday box office projections remain in a range. Why is that range important? We talked about it this morning on Breaking Box Office. If you missed it, here's why. Joker's at 96.2 million. That's the biggest opening ever for October. So they want to get that record. So the longer they can keep that in play, which that 95 to 97's in that range, right in the middle is the Joker record, then we can still talk about it like maybe it'll happen. But it says here that rivals have the final tally closer to 94. Again, they don't have anything to lose. It's not like someone's going to go arrest whoever put out the press report. You lied. You're like 2 million over, and studios do this all the time. We saw it happen with like The Nun, and what was the other movie a few weeks ago where they were going back and forth trying to decide who had number one, and they were like gauging, they're putting the numbers up and down a little bit. That's what studios do, because technically they can go ahead and say Sunday's going to be some cracker number, like insane, like it just goes off the chart. And if that happens, then they look good. If it doesn't, then they wait a second, you just overestimated. That's the game, okay? So right now, kudos to them for playing the game. It's how you do it. I want to show you this real quick. So as you may or may not know, AMC and Variance distributing this film. And if you don't know about Variance, I was like, where have I heard Variance? RRR. Look at the films they put out. So obviously the first thing they have on their website is the Taylor Swift Eras Tour. Of course. Hello. We have a $90+ million debut. By the way, additional 32 overseas, 128 worldwide debut for Taylor Swift in the Eras Tour. Saw it last night. I liked it. I'm a fan of Taylor Swift. I don't know why some of you guys hate Taylor Swift. I do not think she's overrated. I think she's extremely talented. Even if she's written, let's just say half the songs. Let's just say she had help on half and she wrote the other half, or she writes half of all the songs. Whatever it is, she is a talent, both performance-wise and a writer, and some great pop songs. I don't care if you don't like her, whatever that stance is. You can't tell me that songs like Ready for It, or what was the most recent one? I have about 10 or more on there. I like Out of the Woods. I love Out of the Woods. By the way, did you see that Migration trailer they ran during Sunday Night Football? I want to talk about that in a little bit. Remind me if I don't get back to it, because I was impressed with what I saw, and they played the Taylor Swift song Out of the Woods. But look at this, Fallen Leaves. What the hell is that? What is Fallen Leaves? Two random actors in a movie theater. I have no idea what that is. Maybe it's a foreign film. I should back off. There's RRR. And then we have this Erick, which I saw is playing, I believe, at the AMC down the street. I didn't know what it was. But here's what, look, just let me read to what they are doing and what they believe in. This is why I'm all about Variance here tonight. It's the Swiss Army knife of a theatrical distribution. We love streaming, Blu-rays, and VOD, but we love going to the movies a little bit more. Yes, in your face, Netflix. Variance greater than Netflix. Nothing builds the brand of both a film and a filmmaker better than the buzz created by a well-crafted theatrical release, and that's what we're here to do. Amen to that. How many times do we talk about the fact that there are films on Netflix that don't even feel like movies? In fact, I would argue all of them. Someone had a great comment from this morning talking about how Netflix, they should go for Emmys, not for Oscars, because their movies don't have any theatrical, not meaningful. Some random theater in the middle of nowhere, like an indie thing, that doesn't count. You're a major distributor. These are you have $200 million in some of these films. You're telling me you can't go wide? AMC, Regal, Cinemark, give me a break. It's bullshit. And they need to be called on it. And I just say, you're not eligible, man. It's that simple. That'll get them to change really fast because we're getting screwed. I keep bringing it back to this. Remember, back to Netflix, right? They had The Irishman. Well, thank God Apple has Killers of the Flower Moon, because I just saw it on Thursday night. Go back and watch the stream. Love the film. It's very, very good. Much better than The Irishman. Stronger film, period. End of discussion. But what if this were a Netflix movie? You wouldn't see it in IMAX this coming week. You wouldn't see it in Dolby. You wouldn't see it in PLF. You wouldn't see it on a regular screen. You'd have to drive out to the middle of nowhere. Maybe you find a theater that's playing it, because Netflix is a joke. They have that whole thing about their comedy. It's a joke. They are a joke. It's embarrassing that they are still doing that. I don't care if it's not their business model. I don't give a shit. I tell them right now, you are out. You get no Oscars, no chance if you do not add Regal, AMC, Cinemark, all of those now. Otherwise, it's over. So variance greater than Netflix. But what a win for AMC and variance here with this film that is going to make them a lot of money. Do you see she's going to make like $4 billion on this film? The tour and the film, right? $4 billion she made. I mean, can you imagine? Like, what do you do at that point? By the way, I have $4 billion in the bank just from this. Forget all the other stuff I did, like all the royalties from all the songs. She has $4 billion from this thing alone. I mean, I can't even, it's like money doesn't exist, right? You can buy anything you want anytime and no one's going to ask you any questions. Like, yes, I can afford it. All right, let's get to the other news as well. I think we did a good job on that. Let's talk about The Exorcist. Believer fell 58%. I know I'm one of the few defenders of this film, and coming from me, a guy who absolutely savaged and buried Halloween Ends, and to turn around and say this is a solid film. It is. And I think that in time, those critics, well, the critics won't change their mind, because my bad. 90% of them are bad. They are truly terrible. How many times have we talked about this? And I mean this. Think about it. Just think for a second and tell me where I'm wrong. Come in the comments and tell me how I'm wrong about this. We have professional athletes in the NFL, NBA, MLB, hockey. I play beach volleyball. Definitely not professional, but I'm okay. Here's the thing. There are people who are better, certainly than me, at beach volleyball. There are certainly people that are better football players that get to the NFL. There's a lot of college players that don't even see the NFL, right? High school players, you weed it down to college. Then college, you get it even smaller. You put it through the sieve and you're like down to, what is it, like 3%, 4%? It's a tiny number. Why do we think that anybody can come into this space and tell you if a movie is good or bad and then be able to back it up? Why is that the case? You can't just do that. I can't just say I play in the NFL. It doesn't work like that. You have to prove yourself. And we have too many people in the space that have never proven themselves, and they also don't have good taste. And then also on top of that, they don't have that much talent. And you're going to tell me that everybody has the same talent? I'm so tired of this crap. What is that whole mentality that they're teaching kids these days, that everyone's the same? Bullshit, they are. No, we're not. We're all completely different with different gifts, okay? Not everybody can do what I'm doing here tonight. And conversely, I can't do what Mr. Beast does. Well, I've never tried, but I'm just saying, like, that's what he does. This is what I do. And you have to have a talent, a baseline talent. And it seems like nowadays the kids are being told, you can do anything and no one can ever critique anybody. Give me a freaking break. That's not how we were raised. Gen X is like, you suck. Get out of here. I'm the Simon Cowell. That's my mentality. And I'm that way with myself. Like, I remember this stream, like, what was this? Like a week ago when I took the weekend off, I was going over to Phoenix, but I did a Thursday stream and I had Gore Simps on here going, and I went after him and I go, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not going to lower myself to that. It's not even worth my time. So I said to myself after the stream, I said, we're not doing that anymore. Like, that is me being critical of myself, saying that is not what we're going to do. And I think that we have a real problem in society where it's like, you're good at everything. No, you're not. Johnny's not good at everything. Johnny kind of sucks at a couple things. And there's a lot of critics in the space that aren't good. Seriously. Look at what happened with the creator. You had a lot of people out there saying, this is a masterpiece. It's the best sci-fi film of the past decade. Our good friend Brandon Davis, the shill of shills, along with Eric Davis, the Davis boys, the two of them. But Brandon, that whole thing, the best movie of the year. How do you even issue that proclamation when you haven't seen 50+% of the films? And don't tell me you have, Brandon. I hope someone sends you this. You don't. How do you honestly like wake up in the morning and go, I feel good about this shit? I don't care. I don't care if you have 500,000 subscribers. That is lame. I would never do that and say this is the best X if I hadn't seen virtually everything. You guys know if it's been in the theater, I've seen it this year. I've maybe missed like honestly 5 films in theaters, and they're tiny things. Like I never got to the Pope's Exorcist. Oh no, right? There's certain films I'm just not going to get time for, or like Saw X. I don't want to see torture porn. So I have to draw a line somewhere. But like Davis doesn't even watch shit, and he says it's the best film of the year. It's ridiculous. And The Creator, by far, is not the best sci-fi film of the past decade. Are you kidding me? Ex Machina, Interstellar, right there. Those two destroy that. It's not, guys. That is not even like a match. That is a one-punch knockout. It's over on both those films. Now, you can argue about Interstellar and Ex Machina, and there's plenty of other films. Just put those two in a ring. Now we're talking about a fight. Totally different films. Ad Astra. Boom, 3. There's 3. You're going to tell me that this film with John David Washington, who is a boring, literally, he is wallpaper. The guy has no charisma. The only time he had charisma, Black Klansman, and he also had it in the one with Zendaya because he had great writing, because that was savaging critics, which I loved. God, that film. What was it called? It's back here behind me somewhere. That one with the line about critics and how self-important they are, the LA Times critics, aren't we so learned? We're so smart. Back to The Creator. This film's going to lose Disney a ton of money. I mean, I'm talking about at least, okay, here's the deal. It's at $79 million. It's got to get to 80 million, and that'll just be the budget. But here's the problem. You guys know, 2.5. Listen, someone say 2. That's too low. 3 maybe too high. Let's go 2.5, split the difference, and that means we need to be at 200 million worldwide. It's at 80. It's not going much higher. Maybe it gets to 85, 86. It's going to lose Disney more money. It's happened over and over and over. And you notice what's happening right now? Disney is pressing the Marvels. Have you seen all the spot ads come up? Because it's coming out here in like a month, right? Is it November 12th? It's soon. Disney knows that film's in trouble. Like, we might be looking at a $50 million opening for a Marvel movie. No one's excited for that film. And here's how you know they're also pressing. They're showing more and more of the film. Whenever a studio starts to go, here's this, because they start to get the tracking, like nobody cares about this. Oh my God, then just show them everything. Here's Danvers and the cat flying off. Before it was just like, here's the goof thing. And now we're going to make it look really deadly serious. Did you notice the tone switch? Look at the trailer, look at the spot ads on TV. It's a total tonal switch because they know people are like, screw that goofy shit. Even though I am a big defender, as you know, one more time, Ant-Man 3 and Thor: Love and Thunder. Okay, so yeah. All right, let's get to a couple comments here because I've been rambling here for 12 minutes. That's a 12-minute opening fire. Salvos shot everywhere. Thank you, Bodie's here. Listen, whenever I did, Bodie's like, I have all of, on Awards Ace, I have all of the international features submitted. I'll get to it. I'm going to do my best. I love seeing international features. Last year, what was the number one snub in the entire Oscars? Decision to Leave, period. It did not receive international feature nomination, let alone a win. It was the best international feature of the year last year. It was one of the best films. I would argue you'd put it in Best Picture for sure, like top 5. If you look at that film, cinematography, editing, acting, screenplay, all of the things that are there in that film, score, you have really a truly damn close to a masterpiece, and you're not going to nominate it. The Oscars are an embarrassment, completely and utterly embarrassing. Andre, I don't want to see Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour. You want to see the Beyonce film. Okay, well, listen, here's what I'll tell you. For those of you who haven't seen it, and I know a lot of you haven't, you're like, I don't want to see it. I didn't either. And I said last night, let me go check it out because I like her songs, and I know she has a lot of showmanship. When you go to the thing, I mean, this is like a Broadway show. It's constantly changing. Every song is a new setting, is a new, outfit, is a new whatever. And because of that, and it sounds great. My God, I saw it at the 8 in the mall, which isn't even Dolby. It's just like a normal theater, but it sounded amazing. If you watch that film in an IMAX or a Dolby where it's pumping, you're going to be like you're in the concert. And here's what I talked about when I came out of the theater last night. The nice thing about this film is it allows Taylor Swift fans, and you saw pictures I posted from, a buddy of mine that was at the AMC on Friday night, packed full of young girls it just getting excited to go see Taylor Swift. It allowed families to go see her concert for $20 a ticket instead of $1,000 or more. I mean, I had a buddy I play volleyball with. He paid, I think he said for the whole night for 2 tickets, and he's talking like at SoFi. He was at one of those, it was like 3 nights in SoFi. So the concert did 3 different shoots and then put together the best of the 3. So it looks like it's one event, but it's really 3 different nights. But it's obviously the same. She gave the same concert every night, I would assume, because she's making the movie. She needs to keep it, the same. So he paid $1,000. $1,000. Tickets, parking. I think he paid over $100 for parking. Because it's like SoFi is down in Inglewood, and there's I don't think they have very much of a lot, if anything. So you have to pay at random places all over the place, people's yards and things, kind of like the Packers. When I used to cover the Green Bay Packers, you would park on someone's lawn. You give them a 10, 20, whatever it is, to be right next to Lambeau. That's what this is at SoFi. $1,000 to see Taylor Swift? I wouldn't pay $1,000 to see anybody. I don't care who it is. There's no way in hell I'm paying $1,000. Even if I had the money, I wouldn't pay $1,000, but he did. So now you got these families that are going for $20 a head, and they're like, it's awesome. Yeah, Rival's a great film. Very good. I mean, all these films are better. Interstellar, Ex Machina, Dune, Blade Runner 2049, even though I don't think I like Blade Runner so much more. That said, it's still, oh my God, destroys the creator. Edge of Tomorrow, better film. All of these are better. I mean, the creator, yes, it's the adopted child. Yes, well, listen, it's New Regency / 20th Century. Doesn't matter. It's under the Disney umbrella. Did they greenlight it? Yes. To your point, Sham, you're correct, but it's still a loser for Disney, right? So technically, that's right. Watch out. Jose's coming in here saying Taylor is so mediocre. Great songwriter. Performances are so I'm glad you at least said the songwriter, right? At least you gave me that. I would say that she is a solid performer. There are times where I feel like she needs to kind of loosen up just a little bit. I don't think she's like tight. You watch someone and you're like, this isn't good. Like, I mean, how many, you guys have watched live streams? The person's not talented, right? Probably this one. But when you watch, you go, this person, they need to loosen up. And I think if you go back and watch this stream, go back and watch Midnight Movie Talk when we first started. It's not like this. Because now, the reality is in my life now, I don't give a shit about anything. So once you take that approach, you just say whatever. You don't care. Like I don't worry. Except for the night when I went after the Gore Simps and I said, I'm not doing that again. It's not worth it. The Gore Simps aren't worth it. He's still a crappy critic. He really is. Sorry, truth be told. That's just what it is. All right, I wouldn't do it. I said I wouldn't do it. Annihilation is a better film. Weird film. I'm not saying I love Annihilation, but it's certainly more interesting than the creator. It's more original than the creator. Creator's not original. Remember, they were like, creator's the original sci-fi. Well, by that you mean it's not a sequel, but how is it original? I mean, you kidding me? Maville Jones, welcome to the channel. I love every time you bring up Decision to Leave, one of my favorite movies. The girl I loved even gave me a movie poster of it. Oh man, listen. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I judge people based on what they like. Like there's certain films. If you come to me and say Decision to Leave doesn't have the aspects I talked about, like literally elite plus levels, screenplay, starters, cinematography, editing. Oh my God, the editing in Decision to Leave. If you don't see those things, then I'm going to have to question what you're doing. Like, this is what we talked about, the talent. You have to be able to spot the elements that are not just good, not just great, elite plus. You're at the top, as we say, pinging the top of the meter. You are in the stratosphere, and that is what that film does. And it didn't get a nomination. At this point, honestly, if I could do one thing, I say I want to run a studio. Of course I could. You guys know I would walk in and just gut people right and left and tell them their decisions are terrible. Here's what we're going to do. Very much, this is our thing. I'm not going to be wishy-washy. This is what we're doing. But then I would love nothing more than to get into the Academy only for this, to work on shortlists, because they miss so often. You have, like, a lot of these shortlists are 15 films, right? So 15, I think there's some 10, they're mostly 15. 15, you're telling me in 15 films, you can't even get, now Decision to Leave was there, but I'm talking about when you get the nomination. And then look last year, I talk about it all the time, Empire of Light. Not a great film. Screenplay, definitely not great. But score. You have to be able to extract elements from films. The score of Empire of Light, Reznor Ross, the best score of last year, period. And you don't even have it in the shortlist? How? Like, what are we doing? Like, we can't do this. You're all fired. Like, we can't have this kind of thing. This is like you doing whatever job it is that you do, and you going in and sucking it, like doing something that loses the company lots of cash, and you don't get fired. Like, certain things are fireable. And I'm telling you what, if the Academy didn't fire everybody on the score shortlist last year after missing Empire of Light, and of course on the nomination for Decision to Leave, these things can't be missed. They can't be missed. Okay, it can't happen. Old Boy's unreal. Exactly. I know. Listen, that's why international feature is such an interesting place to go. You guys really need to. I'm going to do my best this year to point out the ones that I get to see, and I'm going to do my best to see as many as possible. Last year, I got to at least 15. Most. Do you think? Do you think our boy Brandon Davis watched one, but yet The Creator's the best film of the year? Did you see Decision to Leave? Oh no, you have no idea what that is, do you? You didn't. He didn't. You guys know he did. And yet this asshat is telling me that this is the best film of the year when he hasn't even watched films like Decision to Leave, After Sun, Tar, the 3 best films of last year. Easy. Not even a question. This guy would have Thor Love and Thunder. Listen, I liked it. Thor Love and Thunder #1. I don't know. I'm sure he's a shill, so he likes everything. He would have, what was another like random blockbuster from last year? That would be his top 3. It's like, dude, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. Jim, the roach isn't coming back this year. I smashed it good. It was hilarious. You guys were like, there's a roach. I go, holy shit, there was. There was one back there. I need to get into, I'm not going to lie to you. I need to get into, never will, get behind these screeners. I need to pull them all off and see what's under they've been sitting there. I don't even know what's going on at this point behind those screeners. All right, let's go to the next topic. We'll get more. I'm doing my best to get as many comments in as possible. If you give me a super chat, it's much easier for me, but I can still try to get to as many as possible. Here's the question for you. And then we're going to go to terrible takes. I can't wait. This is a 1-2 punch. And one of the people that is going to get called out here tonight for terrible takes is on the stream right now. So be ready, because that person's about ready to get detonated. What do you think Killers of the Flower Moon's going to do? What's the number? Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. Having seen the film back on Thursday, it is stronger than The Irishman. It is Scorsese. It is DiCaprio. It's De Niro. It is a historical film. You have every element that you need to deliver an audience. Now, you look at Oppenheimer and the opening it had. Understood that it was partly because of Barbie, because of the Barbenheimer phenomenon. But I'm telling you that film still would have done 50+ million without Barbie, right? And then it would keep going. But it was no question helped by the whole Barbenheimer halo effect. Everyone was talking about it. It was an event. It was that rare event that we get in cinema where everyone is talking about it. So you're telling me that Killers of the Flower Moon can't get to 50 opening weekend? Why can't it? I mean, what was the number for Oppenheimer? Was it 70-something, right? Okay, let's just take 20 off of that. You're telling me that a Scorsese film, not Silence, a Scorsese film with DiCaprio and De Niro can't bring in at least 50 million. You're telling me Nolan is that much more popular than Scorsese? Not to film fans, man. You're talking about two legends, right? One obviously has a longer track record, but still, it's not like Nolan showed up yesterday. You're going to tell me that Scorsese isn't at least close to Nolan when it comes to box office? I understand if you're going to go back, you're going to say, first of all, we don't have Irishman because we know why. Netflix sucks ass, right? They're a joke. So we don't know about that. Silence, that was not an accessible film, okay? You got to have accessibility. So we have to go back and look at like Wolf of Wall Street. What was the opening number on that? Let me look. Because I was curious. I'm literally just shooting here thinking, why can't we get to at least Wolf of Wall Street? I know they're not the same thing, right? But it's a comedy. It came out at Christmas. So I'm going to guess that the number was not as big as an opener because it was out right around Christmas, correct? And didn't they have a platform on that? Here it is. Let's pull it up. So here is Wolf of Wall Street. Let me pull it in. I'm doing this early, by the way, because I really should be doing this Thursday night, but I'm just like, let's talk about it. Let's just start. Okay. So here's the opening weekend. Let's go domestic weekend. It opened Christmas Day. The opening weekend was only 18 million. But here's the thing, though. It was during Christmas. It went back and dropped only 27%. 28% the next weekend. And then it held and held. Look at the holds. The holds were like 20%, minus 20, minus. So it just kept going. Okay. But here's the thing. It's different now. I know it's weird. I feel like, and I know Mendelsohn will back me up on this, because of the whole COVID situation, people are jonesing to go to movie theaters because they were told they couldn't go for 2 years, right? I had to drive to Vegas to go see Tenet because it was dangerous. If you go to the movies, everybody, you're going to kill everybody you know. Everyone you know is going to die. If you don't wear your mask, everyone's going to die too. In fact, if you go to a movie and don't wear your mask, then you just killed at least 1 million people. That's what we're told. So during all that, can't even believe people believe that shit. I really can't. Listen, I'm not going to get political here tonight. I'm just going to tell you, I can't believe, and I still see people, don't get me wrong, you can wear a mask, but I can't believe there's still people out there that are literally like, oh my God, I might get COVID. Oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to make it through the night. Dudes, life is risky. It always was. That's what I said during the entire time. Life is risk. You can't live a life in a bubble. That's not even a life. I would never leave my place. I'm scared. What are you scared of? You're not living a life. Who cares if you die? Seriously. Why do you care if you die? You're not doing anything. You're not living. So why do you care if you die? You shouldn't, because you're not doing anything. Seriously. You want to get out there. And the thing is now that you had that whole COVID situation, I feel like people are excited to get going and out. You see them, people are excited now. I know there's a lot of shit going on in the world. Don't even get started with what's in Israel. And I don't want to get into that. That's not at all what this channel is. But I'm going to tell you that there's so much shit going on in the world. People want to escape. So Killers of the Flower Moon will allow people to do that. And I'm telling you, this film should be at about 50. You tell me I'm crazy. Go for it. I don't care. It should be at least, that's really low. 27 is really low. Here, you guys are already on top of it. I'm literally digging. You guys are like, it opened at 20. I already know these things. I like it. I hope it's at least 50 million. I can barely get myself out to see new movies since early August. Well, there's been nothing good. Royal Hotel, I'd like to discuss that film. Now, if you want to talk about Maville, I can talk about it at the end of the stream. I'd like to discuss that film. Anyone who's seen it, it's a really interesting film. It's a very frustrating film, but it's also an extremely intriguing film. And I really didn't talk about it because I know a lot of you didn't see it's a neon film, but it's a case study for me. It really is, because it's like a film that isn't what you want it to be, and it doesn't satisfy you. And it's so funny how films can do that. It's like, 35 million. Yeah. I mean, listen, I guess I know I'm optimistic. I love theaters. There's no one who's a bigger theater person than me. No one has been a bigger cheerleader for theatrical than me. Nobody, not one person. You guys know that. Not a one. Anybody you name, not as big as me. And because I value the theatrical experience, unless someone's on their cell phone or they're talking, no one should ever talk in a movie. Like, you should, I don't even know if you should go over and go, oh my God. Like, that's even too long. But there's no reason to turn into anybody near you and go, hey, did you see? Nope, don't do it. Just wait. Talk. I'm going to have a commercial. You guys know the Progressive commercial with the old dude. I love those commercials where he's teaching the people not to be their parents. He's like, listen, Jane, you don't need to. And that's what I would do. It'd be like in the theater, someone would lean over. You don't need to tell anybody what you saw. You just watched it. You can talk after them. You don't need to do it. Don't do it. Just don't. Put away the phone. You're not that important. There's nothing on your phone that's that important right now. You can put it away. Now, last night, I will admit, now listen, please. I went to see the Taylor Swift movie, and I'm in the very back row. And it's like a concert. It's a little different. I have my phone out because it was like a concert. A concert, people have their phones out. They're like shooting stuff. It's a different thing. A concert film is not a movie. Like in Killers of the Flower Moon, if I have my phone out and like people are like, what the hell are you doing? Especially a press screening. It would like come down and someone got in a fight. I would never do that. But at the Taylor Swift, like nobody's in the theater. There's probably 10 of us, maybe 15. It was, dead because they have it playing on like every screen. So I just walked in and there's nobody here. I'll just sit in the back because there's the seats open, so I can just watch other people do the thing. And I was on my phone, but that was because it was a concert film. I would never do, the commercials are amazing. They're amazing. I would do it. I totally do that. Yeah, right? Very frustrating. No question. Yeah, no. Yeah, I enjoy the film. I did enjoy the film. But it is frustrating. There's no other way to put it. Okay, let's get to, you guys ready? It's time for, I need a sound effect. I need something. I got to play. It's time for Terrible Takes. And we're going to start with a big time director. Let's start with the big fish and we'll get to the smaller fish here momentarily who's on the stream right now. But right now, you guys ready for your terrible take of the week? It comes from Guillermo del Toro, who issued this. He says that Celine Song's Past Lives is the best feature debut he's seen in the last 20 years. Ladies and gentlemen, real GDT is the Brandon Davis of directors. Oh my God. Oh my God. Just hear me out. You're going to tell me, And I'm just going to come up with two right off the bat. You guys come in and start hitting me with all kinds of films that are feature debuts. You're going to tell me the bizarrely unemotional Past Lives, the manufactured emotion of Past Lives. From a filmmaking perspective, it's elegant. I'll give you that. It looks nice, all that, no emotion. That's the best feature. First of all, I got two for you in the past few years. Just two. Just that came right to head when I saw this. Right in my head. Obviously, my number one film of 2021, I saw it before it came out. They sent it to me, then we had lockdown. St. Maud. Rose Glass destroys what Celine Song does in Past Lives. Not even comparison. Again, we talk about that in the ring, one punch, it's over. Okay, so St. Maud, 1, 2, After Sun. After Sun, boom. And by the way, oh, that's right. I just picked two films directed by women. So you can't attack me for saying, oh, he just picked a movie directed by a man. No, I just picked two. So all the people that are ready to explode right now are like, oh, shit. Damn it, we can't get Weber again. He just picked two women directors. Damn. Well, they're not Asian. Therefore, can you imagine doing the mental gymnastics to even go there? But people will, which is, listen, if you're that kind of person, got news for you. You're pathetic. Like, not just sort of like pathetic. That's a level that I don't know where we can even describe where we are. You need to seek help, honestly, if you even go there. Okay, let's also start. I'm just going recently for feature debuts. Recently. Okay, let's go to Smile. Oh, without question. I would even say Barbarian, because even though Barbarian, I told you guys my problem with that film. It is Don't Breathe. There's so much Don't Breathe, so much lifted from that film that it's really problematic for me. But directorially, the choices, the shots, the way that film is assembled, very strong. So those are better debuts. And from a screenplay perspective, I mean, I might even say it's certainly a riskier film than Past Lives. Go ahead. You guys come in and tell me. I just came up with 4 in the past few years. Judas and the Black Messiah, better. Absolutely. Promising Woman, I have problems with that film. I'm not sure I agree with that. The Father, absolutely correct. Yes, The Father, amazing. The Son was not, what the hell was this? But The Father. Del Toro does put those type of comments out there from time to time. No one should really. Well, but Sham, here's the problem. That's nice that you say no one should pay attention. It's Guillermo del Toro, so people do. Let me tell you another aspect of this that no one talks about. I'm almost certain. I can't confirm this because I don't. I'll tell you this. If I had to bet a lot of money, I would tell you this is the case. Both of them are repped by CAA. Okay, Creative Artists Agency, the number one agency in the world, right? You've got your William Morris, you've got your ICMs, you've got your, what's the other one that's out there? There's more, okay? But CAA is like the Death Star of agencies. If you're with CAA, you have made it, okay? So here's what they like to do, and this is how movies get put together. Let me tell you how this town works. CAA likes to put a director with its talent. Why would CAA want to do that? They want to get all the money coming in. You get the director paycheck, you get the actor paycheck, and they get a cut of it. So, of course, they're going to try to put CAA artists into one thing. So, Del Toro, and here's how I think that they are in the same agency. Del Toro just hosted a screening of Past Lives with Celine Song down at where? CAA. No one else has this information. This is why you come to me, because I give you this that no one else can even go there. They don't even know how to get there. But yet, we don't have the subscriber base of, oh my God, Grace Randolph. Whatever, is what it is. Honestly, it doesn't matter. I'm just like to throw it out there as like, you got to be kidding me. So when you look at Del Toro, he's going to say, hey, I'm a CAA client. Maybe he likes the film. No one's going to say he doesn't like the film. Just hear me out. No one's saying that he thinks it's terrible. But do you understand how this town works? It works where, let me help you out. That is this town. Here, let me give you a hand. I get it. That's cool. Everybody has that, right? I have, Menzel. Okay, that's it. One person. I would look to help him out because he's a friend. But I am not going to go out of my way to do something. Thank you, Sleepy Skunk. Del Toro's part of a hustle and talent agency that uses his name to push smaller content. Yes, correct. Steven Spielberg presents. Spielberg watched Paranormal Activity, Alone at Home, got scared. Yeah, remember that? Spielberg also just had what was the one? Well, Tom Cruise talked about The Flash. And what was Spielberg talked about something recently? What was the other film? That's what they do. Exactly. The hustle and talent agencies. So they all promote their stuff. So he might have thought the film was good, but he's going to say it's even better and say it's the best film. Because listen, here's what I'm going to tell you. If Del Toro thinks that this is the best feature debut by a director in the past 20 years, he has not seen any of the films we just mentioned. None of them. He hasn't seen any of them, because you can't, there's no way St. Maud and After Sun to start. And then I would even say Smile, like I said, in Barbarian, go back, and we have all, I'm just like in the past few years. I mean, if we start going back 20 years, guys, that would be ugly. I'm just trying to keep it recent. And I'm just telling you, this is a terrible take. Literally, it's embarrassing. And back to the comment about, Sham saying no one should pay attention. It's not, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. That's why do you think I come on here and rail against Brandon Davis and here at GDT? Because we need to have some counterbalance to that and tell you what's happening. They don't want to hear me say this. Like, if someone shows us Del Toro, he's going to be like, you son of a bitch. That's what he's going to say. But here's the deal. He's going to also say he's right, because he can't say he's not. He can say he likes the film, but he's going to also have to admit, which he never would, that he's part of CAA and so is Celine, and that's why this whole thing's going. I am tearing the lid off of Hollywood. That's what we do here. And I'm not doing it it's fair. What I'm doing is totally fair. I'm just pointing out realities. And that's just the reality of it. That's what's happening. Doesn't mean he doesn't like the film. Yeah, I do. Cannibal, I do. I really would. I mean this. I just don't care. If a studio came to me and said, hey, we want to have you promote a movie, even though I know you hate it, we want you to say it's good, and we're going to give you, let's just throw a number out there, 5,000, 10,000. I'd say no. I would. I mean, and you guys know that. That's the funny thing is, you know that. And the studios know that. They know that. They're like, this guy can't be bought. He is a true mercenary. But actually, no, that wouldn't. Yeah, if I was a mercenary, I'd take the money. I'm a renegade. I'm a maverick. I don't have time for this shit. I'm just out doing my own thing, and I have no interest in being part of the club. I enjoy film quite a bit. Obviously, you guys, I run a channel. I enjoy this. I love going to film, especially to watch films like Kill Flower Moon recently, or like the films I just mentioned, After Sun, Decision to Leave, Tar, St. Maud. Films that just go, my God, this is amazing. Even, Zone of Interest is a really cool film. But I don't care about the whole I'm definitely not a fraud, Josh. Definitely 100% not a fraud. And everybody knows that too. They just go, okay, guess what? It's time for they because it's just, I'm not for sale. And that's what it is. I don't know why. It just is what it is. Get ready, everybody. We have one of our own who has his own terrible take. You guys get ready to hammer this person. You guys ready? Here it comes. Let's switch it to our good friend Gone Girl. I told you I was coming for you, and I'm doing it right now. You guys, what do you think about this take? You're going to hate me, but I think First Man is greater than Ad Astra in virtually every category. That's a no. I like First Man. I think First Man, from a directorial standpoint, is really good. Screenplay is not the story I would tell about Neil Armstrong, like at all. Like, who gives a shit about his family life? It was so boring. Show me him. They did show him going to the moon, but let's focus on that. Let's have his wife be, here comes the guy. Here he comes, the patriarchy. The film's just not interesting with, what's her name? It's not necessarily her fault. It's just, that's not the film I'd write. Like, we talk about this when you name a film. You guys come in here right now. Tell me a film that should have been this and it turned out to be that. When we talk about, so people are talking about Oppenheimer. I was talking about this with Paul the other night. Paul is, man, I'm going to bring him on the stream one time because he and I would just like get after it. He's really smart. He said, listen, we talked about Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer's not really the movie you want, right? Do you really care about the Senate hearings? Does anybody, like, once the bomb goes off and we get the test, Los Alamos, and then we get it, and then we have 45 minutes of Downey in the, does anyone care if he got confirmed? I mean, that's the problem. Oppenheimer should really have not had that even part of it. I understand that's what Nolan wanted to do, but I'm just telling you, if I were looking at the script, I would say I'm not really interested in any of this shit. I really just want to get to Oppenheimer. I know you can make the film just about that and not even really, you can have Downey Jr. just be a smaller role, right? Small. So that's what I'm saying. Like with First Man, it's not the film you want it to be about Neil Armstrong, but the direction is very good. But Ad Astra, okay, here's the weakness of Ad Astra. I will openly, absolutely admit this and cede this to you. The ending of Ad Astra does not really work the way you want it to when you finally get to Tommy Lee Jones out in the middle of Neptune. and he's like, he's lost his mind, and and Brad Pitt's like, Dad, you don't love me, and then he just like evaporate, disappears, Dad disappears. I've seen it twice, but it's been, like, I don't keep movies, like, unless, like, I could tell you virtually anything I just saw, but after you see so many movies, you go, how's it end? That's right. I just remember it wasn't as satisfying. But here's the beauty of Ad Astra. This is why it's a much stronger film, because the visuals alone make it stronger. Because James Gray, that film has a absolutely contemplative, just a beauty to it. You're watching it in a meditative state. And I know that isn't a lot of action for some people, but the beauty of that film is in the stillness of it. In the stillness of Brad Pitt's performance, I think it's one of his best. And the score, right? There's a bunch of different scores going on. Max Richter, and then I think they brought in someone else to kind of help out. But a lot of the stuff that's in there, the songs, the tracks, the score, really good. And the ending of that, when they just, there's so many things that are. This is a terrible take. This is a terrible take, guys. It's not. No, here come the film threats. Oh no. Wait, what is this? They're gonna do a Monday movie talk. Oh my god, that'd be hilarious. He probably would. Whatever. Here's the problem. Gore's not a good film critic, so it doesn't matter what they do. They could have whatever show they want. Alan's good. I like Alan. Alan's really he's talented. Gore's not a good film critic. I know that's some of you are like shocked when I tell you he's not. He's not. I mean, he's just. Tell me something good. Then he's wrong. Bodie. Then he doesn't know that Saint Maud is way better than Past Lives. They're different films, but it's not even close. I want to see Anatomy of a Fall as well. It's interesting. Real quick on that film, because I know it's not like something that everybody. It's a neon film, and France did not pick it for international feature. So you're saying, well, what's going to happen with that film? Once that film didn't get France's international feature, it's pretty much dead. I haven't seen it, and I'm going to see it probably this coming weekend. I think it comes to Burbank. This year with award season, I'm not running out to see a lot of these films if I can see them at Burbank, because it's a pain in the ass. Driving around LA is like a nightmare. Okay, even going to Killers of the Flower Moon on Thursday, I went down to Hollywood, and can I just tell you something about Hollywood? For those of you who don't live here and you don't really need to come visit, there are like crazy lunatics walking around everywhere down there. I mean, imagine being a family coming in here. Hey, we're going to go to Hollywood and walk around the, Walk of Fame and oh, look at, and then literally there's some guy running around like it's straight out of Walking Dead. And I'm like, listen, I'm not like some little, tiny little wuss guy, but I come out of my car. I'm like, I don't know if I want to be around these people. Like, you get a little bit, like, I ran into the theater. It was at a screening room that's like in the middle of Hollywood, and the parking sucked. There was no parking. And I'm like, why am I doing this? But then I was treated to Killers of the Flower Moon. Here's the thing, though. If I'm not going to go watch Killers of the Flower Moon, a major release, awards film, I'm going to just save it until I can see it down the street in Burbank. It's just a pain to drive all over the place. Most of the screenings in this town are in Beverly Hills. There's a couple there. There's also one on Sunset. There's, Netflix has its own thing. I don't have to worry about that because I'm not going to watch a Netflix movie this year. None. I'm not watching one Netflix awards film. In fact, they don't exist to me. Maestro doesn't exist. What else? Rustin doesn't exist. What's the other one? There's at least 2 or 3 more. Those 2 films they don't exist. I'm not going to play the game where they're the same as these other films, the studios that are releasing them for you to watch at AMC, Regal, and Cinemark and all the big theaters, because it's not fair. It's not fair to the other studios who are actually trying. Netflix has no business not trying. None. They don't have an excuse. I don't want to hear about the business model. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to. I love Hoyte's cinematography. It's really, really fantastic in that film. The First Man score was very good. Justin Hurwitz. I would agree that's the number one thing about that film. No question. You should feel sorry for Alan. Alan's a good guy. Yeah, well, does he do that? Does he hate everything woke? That's not good. Don't you? That's the problem when you paint yourself into the corner, like Gore has by being, a nerdrotic simp. When you're a nerdrotic simp and a whatever else you have to destroy everything that's woke. And the problem is not everything that's woke is bad. And all the other thing is it even woke? Not. There are certain things listen, definitely. I've told you that many times when I watch a film and it feels like something's being inserted artificially because we have to fill a quota or do something, that doesn't ever work. Never, never, never. But if it works and feels organic in the moment, then it's not. It doesn't. So it's not just like this easy, like, oh, well, Halle Bailey was, it's so hard for me to say because of Halle Berry. She was very good in The Little Mermaid. Her voice, for one, just that's when she sings the centerpiece song, whatever the hell it is. She was fantastic. So you can't just say, "Oh, Little Mermaid's bad because it's a black Little Mermaid." Who cares? First of all, like, yeah, Ariel in the cartoon was, who cares and shit. It's a Little Mermaid. Like, why do we care that much? And so the problem is when you paint yourself into the corner where you have to only everything. Because here's the problem: is people on his channel, if he all of a sudden says, "Hey, Little Mermaid was fine. I think she's really good and she has a great voice," then they go, "Oh, what?" They don't know what to do. The thing you get here is that realize someone just said this about the Taylor Swift movie last night. Go look at the comments from the reaction. They go, "We don't know what to do. We don't know what to expect from you ever." And that's the point, because when you're objective and you don't have an agenda and you don't have to play to the base, you can just be your own individual free agent on everything, then you don't know what I'm going to say, because I'm going to base it on facts based on what I believe to be the reality of the situation, rather than this is everyone who's a liberal is terrible, everyone who's a conservative is horrible. No, there's shades in between everywhere. Okay, every politician, I don't care who they are, whether they're Democrat, Republican, whatever it is, they have good and bad. Okay, even our current president, who I think we can all agree is like, what is going on? But there's still something. I don't know what it is. I got to think about that. And by the way, not right wing nut. I'm just telling you, come on, man. Who's defending Biden at this point? Like, seriously, if you're still defending that dude and what's going on, I don't know what to tell you. That's all I got to say. I mean, I can't help you. Bo Burnham trending during lockdown was really annoying. He's a boring dude. Well, interesting you say that. I didn't watch that Inside. Right, it's called Inside. I never watched it. I do want to see it because, first of all, it wasn't in movie theaters. It was a streaming thing. But the other thing is here's what I'm going to say about Bo Burnham. I think he's a talented, 8th grade's very strong for a debut. That was his debut feature, correct? That's, by the way, 8th grade. Here's another better film than Past Lives, right? Okay, so I didn't see Inside. I want to see it. I see Josh saying it's a masterpiece. But let me just say one thing on Bo Burnham, and I've told you my stories interacting with him, but he seems like a really nice, genuine person. But here's my problem, and it's not his fault. He wasn't the right guy for Promising Young Woman. He was not the right boyfriend. You needed to have, and I think Paul brought this up when we were having drinks the other night, is that you needed to have like a Bradley Cooper. You need to have more like Bradley Cooper Wedding Crashers, like a dick. And I think Bo Burnham in that movie comes off as beta. He comes off as not aggressive enough. I understand maybe that's what I don't know if that's what Emerald wanted, but it's not the right. It was wrong. It's bad casting. I think if you go back and watch Promising Young Woman, you're going to see what I saw when I first saw it the first time. I go, that's not the right guy. I think he's good. He's not the right guy in that role. It's not about the actor. When we talk about John David Washington, it's because he doesn't have certain things. I don't think Bo necessarily, I haven't watched enough of him, but I think he can do it, but he's not the right guy. If you listen, part of you just have an essence and you can't manufacture that. I mean, the best casting directors just know. I told you the story I knew about Guardians of the Galaxy, right? So when I went to the Black Panther, when they had the FYC screenings, everyone was there. I talked to Ludwig. I talked to, obviously, Feige. I talked to Kathleen Kennedy that night. I also talked to, what's her name, the casting director. I'm drawing a blank right now. She's the casting director who's like huge in Hollywood. So I talked to her for a moment about just different things. I talked about Guardians of the Galaxy. And she said when Chris Pratt came in, they were like, well, she knew. She goes, that's the guy, right? I know that's him. That's Star-Lord. But she had to convince the brass that he was the guy because he didn't have the credits. He had Moneyball, a few other things. Obviously, he had, what's it called? Zero Dark 30. But he didn't, there was someone else. I can't remember who it was. I think she even told me. And I really should remember this. She had to fight for Pratt. But that's the thing is, it when you see it. And I think that's what a good casting director does, what a good director does. You don't settle for choice B. We talked about this before. I was talking about this with Paul the other night. You talk about a movie that's actively ruined by a casting choice. You go back to The Card Counter. Who even saw it? Who saw The Card Counter? Okay, here's the thing. When you watch Card Counter, there's one actor, actress in the film that actively wrecks the film. Like, she's not ready. She's not in the league of Oscar Isaac. And she has to do scenes with Oscar Isaac. So it's literally like, say, here's a Hall of Fame NFL quarterback in John Elway, and now you got to play with this rookie was not even drafted. And it's Tiffany Haddish. And I talked about this before. She's so bad in that film. It is actively destroying a film as she just talks. It's crazy. But the thing is, you have to you can't miss on those. You can't miss. If you don't have the right person in the right role and they were wrong and they weren't ready or whatever it is, I think Tiffany Haddish can do comedy. She definitely can't do Card Counter. It was really bad. Of course you did. Of course you did, because you probably got to the first time that she came up and you go, what? There's a part where she's got to do a thing and she's got her eye, everything about the scene's bad. And I'm like, I can imagine Paul Schrader. I was talking to Paul about this. Paul H. Follow him on Twitter, Academy Picks. I talked to him. I said, I can imagine this is Paul Schrader. Like he's in Director Village going, oh, I'm so fucked. Oh my God, I'm so fucked. Because at that point, could he recast? I don't know, but there's no way when he was watching the takes that he didn't just go, oh my God, I'm so wrecked, dude. We are so wrecked. And Paul seems like the kind of guy, you guys know he's been very outspoken about a lot of things. He's the kind of guy, if I got him on a thing here and I said, hey, just can you talk to me about Tiffany Haddish and the Card Counter? He'd be like, oh, he would just issue some, he might, or he would just say, he probably would say something like, I don't really want to discuss that. Right? Everyone in Promising Young Woman is casted deliberately. They cast a bunch of comedians and people that are generally considered to be likable stars of all these typical nice guys. I guess, yeah, Joshua, listen, it's just he's wrong for that role. There's got to be, he was the wrong guy. I know I'm right. I'm 100% right on that. Bo Burnham is not the right guy for that film. And it's funny because everyone just said, oh, Promising Young Woman is a great film. It won Sunset Circle Film of the Year, which is the group I started. And I didn't want to have that film to win because I see a very flawed film, very flawed. For tonally, that film could not just jump all over the place erratically. It doesn't work. And I'll tell you, the thing is we talk about tone all the time. If you're going to try to pull off something like Promising Young Woman, if you're going to try to pull off a film that requires a great skill level of a director, there's certain films that don't take much. It's cookie cutter, right? You watch a film that's just told, from point A to point B, and that's all it is. You can get almost anyone, I'm sure, that can sort of do a good job. The problem with The Promising Young Woman is it's got a lot of tonal issues, tonal changes. So you have to have somebody who's able to, when you're making those pivots, that it works. And that film just doesn't. It's like a little bit off. And so when you go to make these things, you start to go, And when you watch like a Scorsese, right, you look at A Killer's the Flower Moon, which doesn't have a whole lot of comedy. There's a little bit, but the tone is just all perfect because he knows how to direct a film. It's Scorsese. That's what we're saying is, again, going back to what we talked about at the beginning of the stream, not everybody has the same skill set. It doesn't work like that, guys. Tell me, there's no way it can. Otherwise, we talk about every director like they're Nolan Scorsese in my rose glass. You see it and you know it, and we can't pretend that everyone's the same. I know maybe that's what they're trying to push on us, but I can promise you not everybody's the same. Everyone's got their own individual things. It's just the reality of it, okay? And some people are going to be better than you at something. It's just the reality of it, okay? I might think this stream is awesome and I do a decent job, and there's someone who is better. No question, there has to be. But I also think I'm better than a lot of other people. So it's all good. Just because we don't have the numbers, I don't give a shit. But I know that, here's what I said. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were like, I talk about the stream. They're like, listen, we have like 2,000 subscribers, which I love. It's awesome. I love doing the show, period. I don't even care. By the way, I'm not even looking. I don't even know how people are watching right now. I don't look. I don't even want to know because I don't care, because I'm on here discussing film and being as unvarnished and authentic as possible. It doesn't matter. So I enjoy doing the show. So ultimately, I don't go the next day and go, oh, I have this many. I never have done that. I mean, sure, I've looked occasionally after a day or two. Oh, there's 1,000 views. That's nice. At least some people maybe enjoyed it. That's all it is. You put it out there. You can't control it. You can't control whether it is well received or not. You can only do your job and think, am I doing a good job? I say, yeah, I am. I think it's a good show. Not all the time. Definitely not all the time. 100%, John. Parasite has major tonal switch. Oh my God, that film. In fact, when it first happens, first time I watched Parasite, it was early, before it came out. It debuted at Cannes. They showed it to us literally 2 weeks later over at Sepulveda, which is one of the screening rooms here. I remember the night. I mean, I remember just sitting there going, at first, when we get to the party and then the bloodshed starts, I go, I don't like this. And then right, so you got the tonal switch, the major tonal switch from this comedy with the shades of dark comedy, obviously, and then you turn to the party. And then I was sitting there going, I just went down on this film. But then, bong, you leave Dad in the house and the son comes back and does I've only seen Parasite twice. It's been a long time. He's doing the thing, right? The flashing, whatever it is to communicate with dad. Unbelievable. Like literally you feel the hollow, right, of this family that's fractured and the dad who's now imprisoned in the house. That is masterful, and that's why Bong is one of the best directors, because a lot of directors would fuck that up. They would just not know how to make that mesh, how to have that coalesce, that you have something that is that jarring, and then to be able to land, to stick the landing. And I think Promise Young Woman does not stick the landing as such. It's one of the more overrated films the past several years, without question. Not a bad film, but has many, many, many flaws. I knew nothing about Parasite going in, assumed it was going to be a post-apocalyptic horror thriller. I mean, you could. I mean, just based on the name. It's a cool film. Why is it so cool? Because it is different. You know, yes, I think there's a lot of shades of Tarantino in that film, no question. Certainly with the devolved to violence at the end. It's got that slow build and then just absolute mayhem. That's every Tarantino movie, every single one. So he definitely learned from that. I've told the Tarantino Bong story a million times. I'm not doing it again tonight. So he was definitely inspired by that. But what makes that film so interesting is you don't know where it's going. So many films, we know exactly where it's going to end up. And when you look at a film like Good Time, when you look at a Parasite, just going recently, when you look at any film that subverts the expectations, you go, what's happened? What just happened? That's what we want. We don't want to like watch a film and go, this is exactly how it's going to go. And I think one of the things when you watch Killers of the Flower Moon this week, and I'm going to get ready to wrap the stream. We're almost out. We got 5 minutes. Quick. One of the things you're going to see about Killers of the Flower Moon, you're going to really love the film. You're going to think it's very strong. And then you're going to get to that final scene. You're going to go, what is happening? And then you go, oh my God, this is so smart and so elevated. The choice of what Scorsese and that screenplay, what they do at the end of that film, I'm not giving anything away because I never have done that, and I'm not going to do it tonight. You're going to come back here on Thursday when you go to see it. We'll do a stream Thursday night. You're going to come back here and you're going to say, oh my God, you're right. That scene at the end, that was masterful. Wow, I never expected that, and it works. I want to mention this. We got a couple things. We'll get a couple comments before we get out of here, less than 5. I do want to say something here tonight about Suzanne Summers. I grew up in the 80s. I used to run home from school and watch afternoon cartoons like every kid in the 80s. Inspector Gadget, G.I. Joe, Transformers. But then after that, on our NBC affiliate was Three's Company. And I have seen, I would say it's safe to say I've seen every single episode of Three's Company. Going back to when, of course, Suzanne Summers was Chrissy and was the first several seasons, as you may or not know, she was then involved with she wanted a new contract, and ABC was like, we're not paying you this money. And then they just got rid of her and they put Terry in there. Right. Eventually, I think they had, what was the name of the one? Cindy, right? Cindy was in between. I'm forgetting all the names now. But then they got to Terry. But Suzanne Summers is the reason that show was able to go as long as it did. How many seasons? 6, 7, 8 seasons? It was a lot. Maybe it was 10. But I just remember watching that every day after school and being absolutely awed by the comedic level that those two, specifically when you look at Suzanne Summers and John Ritter, going back to the original, one of the best sitcoms of all time, in a sitcom that we wouldn't get made today, right? We don't need to tell why, but it wouldn't be made the same way that we see it. That's for sure. Yeah, rest in peace. A real talent, and I think that probably an underrated talent when you look at Suzanne Summers. Cindy, that's right. It was Cindy. Chrissy, and I got it. Cindy. Yeah, Cindy was the one no one really liked because she was replacing, right? Cindy was replacing Chrissy. So everyone's like, she's not as good. She wasn't as good, right? She wasn't as good. And just like we talked about, not everybody is as good as someone else. Oh my God, he's saying things you can't say. But Terry was solid. I mean, the introduction of Terry at the hospital and then she comes home. I liked it because initially they absolutely tortured her. They made her life miserable. And then there's that moment she's like, they defeated her. Didn't she? Like didn't Jack do these terrible things to her? He bullied her. And then he's like, oh my God, I'm a terrible person. That was such a good episode. 100%. Gone Girl, you may have just resurrected your career here because you went from Ad Astra First Man being better than Ad Astra, which is totally wrong. But you just corrected yourself by saying Iron Man. That's a fantastic call. The tonal switch of the Mandarin getting his cock cut off in Iron Man 3 is one of the worst. How does it get worse than that? It just doesn't. That I've ever experienced in a theater. When that happened, when the Mandarin all of a sudden decides he's an actor and Ben Kingsley's like, hello, everybody, I'm British. And I'm like, what the dude, what am I watching? It was, to this day, what was the director of that? The guy who, what's his name? He did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That guy. He would never work again after watching that. In fact, I don't know how Feige, next time I run into Feige, remind me I didn't do this. I should have, because I had the one chance. I talked to him for like about 5 minutes. I would have said, what the hell were you thinking with Iron Man 3? Like, what were you doing? Because that was the biggest fuck up in the history of the MCU. So bad. Anyone who defends Iron Man 3, it's over. Shane Black. That's right. Shane Black. All right, that's going to do it. The stream is now over. I'm back on Thursday with Killers of the Flower Moon opening night. I want you to see the film. Go see it. You have to. You must. I know you're going to. You guys are excited. You should be. That's the good news going into Thursday. The great news, the stellar news, that you guys are going to come back here after watching Killers of the Flower Moon. And I want to talk about, you might have some issues. Very small ones. Certainly runtime needs to be tightened up a little bit, but it's not going to be an issue where you're coming out of it going, my God, there needs to be an hour cut out of here like The Irishman. It felt like an hour too long. This film feels just a little bit too long. The front end, I would just compact a little here and there, but otherwise, just wait till you get to that final. When you get to it, you're going to stop and you're going to go, this is great. This is maybe one of the best Scorsese scenes because it's so unexpected and it's so perfect. It's so brilliantly executed. You're going to love it. I want to discuss it on Thursday night back here on MMT. Hey guys, thanks for being here. And as always, being part of the stream. It's a pleasure. It really is. I don't care. I didn't even see. I don't even know how many people watch. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't care, because ultimately we're discussing film. You guys love film. I love film. That's why we're here. That's what we're doing. Unvarnished, objective, always, forever. Peace out. MMT. I'll see you Thursday night. Good night.